Michael Finn, holistic exercise and lifestyle coach, and today I'm going to show you a horizontal cable wood chop. And the why we call these chopping exercises is because it's kind of like if you were holding an axe and chopping down a tree. So that's why they're kind of referred to as chops. Other people, especially in the personal training world, will refer to them as P and F because that's kind of what they first kind of like, named them. But one way or the other, I like to call them cable chops and pretend like I'm chopping down a tree. Makes it a lot of fun. Okay, so this one's going to be horizontal, and the reason why I really like the horizontal cable wood chop is because you can really develop your midsection and make it really strong and really stable, especially for all your swinging activities, by really loading up your horizontal cable wood chop. Okay, a lot of people ask me, well, how do you, keep the midline of your body, so trim? Well, I do it with a lot of chops. I do this with quite a bit of weight because I've developed it over the years to where I can move quite a bit of weight when I do my cable wood chop. So our cable pulley, you can do this with bands, but I'm not too big on bands just because the tension changes. With cables, you have the same amount of weight all the time. It doesn't change, and so I like that. But you can do this with a band. It's just not quite as effective. So I like to have the cable height somewhere right around the bottom part of our rib cage, so that it's about that little point there. And then you might see other people doing this exercise where they bring their hands in towards their body nice and close, and then they push them out the other side. And that is one way of doing it, but if you really want to put some load into your abdominal wall and create a nice strong abdominal wall in rotation, I like to keep the arms pretty close to straight with not much of a bend in them. Okay? So I've got a nice, good, solid, squared up stance. The cable's off to my left-hand side. I've reached across with my right hand, and I'm hanging onto the cable with my right hand, and I have my left hand over the top of my right hand. So I'm going to be pulling with my right, not pulling with my left. Or sorry, not pushing with my left. I'll aid a little bit with my left, but I'm primarily pulling with my right hand. Okay? It's also a good way to work grip strength too, because you can grip this or you can wrap a towel around it and have all sorts of fun. All right, so I'm going to exhale as I pull across in front of my body, and I'm going to pivot that back foot a little bit, and then I'm going to inhale as I come all the way back, and then I'm going to exhale as I pull all the way across my body, and I'm going to inhale as I come all the way back. So that I'm just making a nice straight horizontal line right across out in front of my body. So I'm about a foot and a half out to my left in front of me at the start point, and I'm about a foot and a half out to the right of me as I go to the other point. If you're a golfer, it's best if you keep your eyes nice and straight ahead like I'm doing right now. That way you try to practice keeping your eye on the ball. And if you are, say, a baseball player, you can be looking at the pitcher and then following that ball and then coming through with your hands so that you work it that way. Okay, so that you make it a little bit more like your sport. You don't want to do this exactly like your actual baseball swing. It's more about developing the power and the stability to do it. And then of course you need to flip around and you need to do the other side too. So now you can see it from the back. Same thing, I'm just now pulling with my left hand, pushing with my right, pivoting on my right foot. Okay, and you can see how my spine's rotating and my hips are shifting. My weight's here on my right leg right now, and then I'm going to shift over to my left as I push across the other way. Okay, great way to develop all of the stability around in our core. And if you ask like any janitor who does mopping and things like that, having a straight up big rag mop and dragging it around on the floor is a lot of that same work that you get in through the abdominal wall. And that's why I like that big cable chop, because it allows me to load it up and really work my abdominal wall and get it super strong so that it doesn't get banged up when I hit the ground and all this other kind of stuff in all the contact sports I play. So, subscribe to the channel, hit the little bell. You can always DM me over on Instagram at MichaelFinn490 and let me know if you got any questions. And I hope you all have a happy and healthy and fun cable chopping day. Boom.